Even since the Ura surrendered to us, the Marshals kept a wary eye on him. The Marshals seem like good men, he says. They treated him with dignity. Zolf brought his antique smoking pipe all the way from the terminals. Zolf's travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this. The lost and found. Here, kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. No use praying to the gods these days. No time for it either. Folks used to make pilgrimage here to pay their respects to Pith, the Bull, Pith Orchard. The place is a dead end in more ways than one. Well, the gods are long gone now, and the orchard core is long gone too. Seems Pith ain't much of a watchdog. Pith stood for something once. Something real. In time, though, the bull stopped being a symbol and started being decoration. Pith makes a decent scarecrow, at least. Then Pith lights up like a rodeo. Kid breaks him to bits. Must have been guarding that shrine. So what'll it be? Invoke the gods, or tell them off? Pith. Kid don't need favors from the likes of Pith. Well, if the gods are alive, they must be plenty sore. Popping windbags is hard enough. No need to get the gods involved. Things might have gone worse if Kid tampered with that shrine. Kid ain't found a core, but at least he found Zolf's precious shrine. The gods don't care about trinkets, but the kid ain't no god. Now we can build a shrine of our own, though I got some alternatives in mind. The Ura feared the gods. We turned them into toys, put their faces on our walls. Zolf doesn't touch the thing. Says the god of commotion is no children's toy. Kid says hello, but Zolf's lost in thought. Turn him round and round all you like. Pith's still gonna be ugly. The marshals kept the city's peace. They can rest easy now. The Langston River flowed free and wild till the calamity drank it all up. Maybe all that water just grew wings and flew off. Riverbanks swarming with windbags. They're so bent on finding the core, they hardly notice the kid. Lucky for him, a certain famous ferry barge is still afloat. Weepin' Nellie. She'll send some squirts crying home as she leaves port. Maybe Nellie knows the way to the core. Maybe she can slip right past all the clamor on the coast. Or maybe not. A security skiff pulls up portside. Nellie's just another windbag to those guns. Just then, the windbags notice who she's sailing with. They're pretty steamed about what happened at Cinderbrick. They try to cut her off. They try to slow her down. They try to knock her out. Well, Weepin' Nellie tries harder. Try as she might, though, she hits a snag. Kid's gotta help her get untangled. Favors for favors. At least she picked a good spot for a break, 'cause the core's right there. Then the kid hears an unusual sound, like 100 flapping wings. Peckers. They had their own eyes on the core. But why? Well, kid ain't got time to think it over just yet. Kid almost falls again. He finds Weepin' Nellie raring to go. Turns out she's got a special surprise for when the waters get rough. She's gonna need a little help with all them peckers. Crafty things think they're king of the roost now. Rest of us only wish we could fly in times like these. Security skiffs keep on coming, starboard side. Don't seem to care what they shoot, as long as they hit something. The windbag's getting even better out here. They aim to smash weeping Nelly to splinters. Well, it all proves too much for poor Nelly. She's just gotta make one last stop. With her last breath, Nelly gets the kid to solid ground. Solid ground in Picker country. They want that core real bad. Might be they want it just as bad as a kid. Kid shoos him off, knowing they'll be back. Know how many times kid nearly fell off the barge back there? 5 times. Now, listen close. You should remember this next part. Why go to Prosper Bluff? Used to take an enterprising man or a plain old fool to venture out that far. The city was the most beautiful place in the world. We all knew that. But on the other hand, some folks just yearn to see the things they're told they can't. And that's why you go to Prosper Bluff, ain't it? There the kid hears something he ain't heard in a long while. How's it go again? Yeah, that's the one. Well, no point explaining what happens next, right? Suffice it to say, kid ain't coming home empty-handed. And besides, it's like the song goes. They'll be here before too long. We darn near celebrated when the kid got back, didn't we? Zolf never thought he'd see a fellow Ura again. We become fast friends. Calamity has that effect on people. But there was more to be done. There was one last core to find. A scientific journal written in Zolf's native tongue. He learned so much from it. Too much. If only I'd known half the secrets of the Calamity were tucked away in that book, I'd have worked to translate it right away. Most of the Ura never got a taste of Caelondia's fine goods, unless they were born and raised in the city like Zia here. Sure, the world's all gone to pieces farther than the eye can see, but leave it to this gal to point out the amazing view. Girl tried to run away from home one time, but the marshals stopped that, didn't they? So many secrets in there and she can't even read it. Her father's own journal. Kid's surprised when I tell him there's only one core left. I shouldn't have believed it either. Ain't never letting go of his old friend with a sturdy grip like that. You want to tune a scrap musket, you start with the barrel. We track the final core beyond the city to the wilds. The city's unwanted things all met their end in the yard. Folks who fouled up would do their time here, smashing things to bits. The quicker they worked, the sooner they could go. Folks learned to plant their feet and put their backs into it. Others would plot a course to navigate that sea of junk. A good day's smashing could feed a family for a week. Ever want to just smash things for a while? You know where to go. sail hammer's only as strong as its spine. That's a strong spine. The wild unknown. Place can eat a man alive. Place is so raw, even the calamity couldn't cook it. Not all of it. Kid learned the hard way not to touch those things. Pecker's got the core, like they're building a bastion of their own. The welcoming committee scrambles to attention. Didn't expect the kid so soon. They shouldn't have let their guard down. Getting that core was one thing. Getting out's gonna be another. He digs his way out of the clearing, but the wilds won't let him go without a fight. Wallflowers survived the calamity. It toughened them up. Best take it real slow when pincushions are afoot. Slinger Jawson's old outpost is all that's left of him. A handful of windbag shipments made it out this far. Kid's seen the last of them. Don't ever turn your back on a pincushion. Kid's roused up half the wilds by now. Leave it to the kid to make time for stomping swamp weeds. Then kid gets the feeling he's being watched. Not by me, by a lunkhead. And lunkheads ain't fond of two-legged animals. Wild's already reclaimed this place. He's anxious to get back. Wild green pineapple's about the only good thing out here. By now, kids got more needles in them than a stab weed. Hardly any signs of the old Jawson camp. Jawson's boys left all kinds of stuff out here. Sees a smooth black stone coughed up by the calamity. Be seeing plenty more. After all, he's got the final core. His journey's over, right? Well, no, it ain't. Not by a long shot. Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zolf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zolf can barely muster the words. The calamity failed, he says, but I will not. And with that, Zolf leaves us here, alone. Zolf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put her back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health. Turns out those old bones still have some spark in them. Zolf cursed the city, cursed the Bastion, cursed me. Said he was going home. When Zolf got through reading that journal, he just snapped. Started smashing up the monument till I tried to stop him. The city brought the shards to the wilds. Now the kid's gonna bring them back. After Zolf's little episode, Kid sets off in search of shards. First stop, Jawson Bog. You'll get lost in that bog, I told the kid, and I won't be able to guide you back. Well, I let him go. What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zolf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good for all I know. Wherever he is, it's somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. The dead welcome him with open arms. Kid pops him good. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? I'm Zolf of the Ura. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, lunkheads, wallflowers, pincushions, vine apples, swamp weeds, ankle gators. Now the Bastion can send him even farther, into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Caelondia's famous watering holes. He has the nerve to flash the shield he stole. He's a petty thief. Kid succeeds where the calamity failed. Would you look at what he did to poor old Rondi the bartender? Proper story is supposed to start at the beginning. It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of the rippling walls, years of work undone in an instant. He sees what's left of Pith, the bull. The gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friend. His friend, he's come undone too. He sees what's left undone. Thought we'd lost him, but he finally comes to. The shard ain't lost either, not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Bootlickers dig their nasty thorns into his heels. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. They say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. Well, a kid prunes it down to size somehow. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never much cared to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. The Masons. We built the city strong. Now there's only two of us. If you're feeling low, count on the buttery flavor of our own Bastion bourbon. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothus Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts what don't know up from down, still lurking about. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. The lagoon's got plenty of other dangers, of course. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? A stinkweed. can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. Bad idea to walk in gator grass. Most of those peckers are smart enough to stay out of Queen Anne's way. They say you can't hurt an ankle gator unless it's raining. And it ain't raining. The brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Kid's got a mean throwing arm. Those pin cushions been living off the ankle gator's scraps. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass and he's Queen Anne's lunch. Queen's got one mean bite. He holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. That old gator's right on his tail. They make a tasty snack. Queenie must have scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Seems even stinkweeds know to stay away from the Queen. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? You use a kid as bait. The shard's sitting in plain view. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. She's starting to get annoyed. And now he's made her mad. Rest in peace, Queen Anne. That was for the brushers. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. That Gator's a crazy gal, but so is the gal who promised to look after her. The brushers, they moved in shadows, but the calamity found them. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. Kid don't always care for fancy guns and things. A bow and pike'll do just fine. All that trouble for a single shard, but you know what? It was worth it. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. Fetching fizz is like a mouthful of nails, but the benefits are worth it. The next shard should be farther out there in the wilds. Know how Caelondia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. The army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Blam! Just like my fighting days. Gun like that can even put the wilds in check. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. The grand rail of Point Lemaine, not only is it still there, still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Grand rails all grown over with things the Calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Kid don't let so much as one of those things slip by. Lunkheads settled in like they own the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers coughing fungus everywhere. Only one way to cure a cough like that. Of course, the Grand Rails seen much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Ura-Celandian War. It was right here that Zulf's Ura forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store for him, though. All the rotten wood there on the rails turned it into swamp weed central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? While shooting a genuine registered army carbine? While choking on swamp weed? While peckers trying to prick you in the eye? Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. fast, it's the end of the line. He'll be picking swamp weed out of those boots for days. Turns out he's got company up at the rail station, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower or pincushion, mind you. At first he thinks it's Zulf. Turns out he's wrong. This is for you, says the man. Then wham. When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. The only words kid recognizes on that parchment are for Zia. Well, what's a kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zulf. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. Finders keepers. A pair of slinger pistols is just the ticket if a hammer's too slow. Zulf's messenger was one of his people. Wonder just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zulf told him. The shards are getting harder to find. Not everything blew up in the calamity. Why, Colford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Colford Cauldron. That learning led to some interesting inventions. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. Playing with the cauldron's fires became an addiction. Can't fault our people for their natural curiosity now, can you? Sure, we dusted off a good many secrets out here. But we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. The unforgiving scent of sulfurous dirt. The taste of air so hot it sticks to your lungs. All sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. You can cook those things, but you can't eat them. Never thought we'd find so much life in all that ash. The more ash we swept aside, the more life we found. Place as inhospitable as they come. But still we pressed on. After all, when we looked down inside Colford Cauldron, looked down through all the smoke and flames, we saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Charleston Bog. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Luckily, the cauldron cooked up a little shortcut for him. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Pops open on him like a pimple on a school day. Where there's one stink eye, there's always more. The cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. Kid don't shed any tears for him, though. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. It comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. Kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. He wolfs down too much too fast, and it all goes to his head. I've said a lot about the kid, but he ain't the only one wrapped up in all this. What's he thinking? Well, let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Kid's ready to get real personal with hammer and musket in hand. They said the wild could never be tamed. If only they could see us now. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. Culture, a still life of old unwanted keepsakes. The slingers, the wilds were their calling. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan. Can't rightly call Mount Zan the mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. We only found their little lair because they found themselves a little shard. The creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. Best thing we can do for those beasts right now is put them down quick and clean. There's only one kind of mercy left these days. Look at it this way. It's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our Bastion is everybody's game, not just ours. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts been hard at work fixing up the place. They've rounded up their survivors, just like we have. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. Maybe they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. That's the way. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete. The monument's getting better. Zolf sure did a number on it, though. With that mortar and hammer, he's like a one-man demolition squad. Seems the gods recommended this place to all their friends. Just a couple shards left. The quarry's gotta have one, right? Ever felt a Zolwood gourd, like picking up broken glass barehanded? At Zolwood Grove, marshals learned to make every shot count. The trick was to pop all those nasty gourds without wasting ammo. Most marshals didn't get far on their first few tries. Had to catch a bunch of those gourds in a single shot. Funny thing about muskets is they work best up close. It took a keen eye, not an itchy trigger finger. Marshals did more than just stand around shooting, of course. The accused always got a fair shake in Zealandia. Some used to take the bullhead trial. Survive the trial without taking a scratch, you'd walk away a free man. Bullhead trial taught folks three things. First, a good defense is a good offense. Second, gotta always watch your back. Third, ain't no godlike bull up there gonna save you. smarter ones knew when to just step aside and let things go. The kid pulls through in fine form. Well, the kid always wanted to compete in the bullhead trial. Imagine everything you'd need to build a city like Caelondia. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes Bastion quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the calamity. Just takes three things to build the greatest city in the world. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes Bastion quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the calamity. We bought the whole place from the Ura on the cheap. Same goes for its natives, rattletails. Why would the Ura put up with those pests? Rattletails ain't the worst of it either, but more about that in a little bit. The quarry came with a lifetime supply of windbags. Windbags smaller than the naked eye can see are nesting in those rocks. Not only are these rocks a source of life, we found that the oldest ones remember things. They're recording everything, all the time, taking it all in. No wonder all those beasts were drawn to the quarry. The rocks were calling them. Keeping the quarry free from pests turned out to be a problem. Rattletails kept tunneling in to snack on windbags. Now, why would the Ura sell off such a fascinating place? Might be the gods told him the quarry's bad news. On top of that, you know the Ura hated anything above ground. Might be the quarry just got too much sunshine for their liking. The Ura always were a superstitious lot. Even stink eyes started taking root in here. Without those windbags, the quarry might not have its special qualities. In any case, it's fair to say the quarry was a godsend. Those rocks, all polished to a mirror sheen. The largest ones, you know as cores. A single core could keep the lights on in an entire city district. smaller ones, we call them shards. A shard's got a fraction of a core's power, enough to fuel a voyage to the motherland. Well, now the quarry's all dried up. These rocks are much too young to be of use. Remember how I said rattletails ain't the worst thing in the quarry? That honor goes to a beast we took to calling Sir Lunky. Massive things stomped many of our boys. We just couldn't get rid of him. The only thing harder than the rocks in Burstone Quarry is Sir Lunky's head. His big fat rum's plenty tough too. But so is a kid. We never could get stubborn old Lunky to leave the quarry alone. Then the kid hears a voice calling from down the hall. "Are you all right?" it says. "It's him. I've come to warn you," he says. "The Bastion is under siege. Let it fall. You should not go back." Kid hears him, but he ain't about to be deterred. "If that's the way it is," he says, "then I won't stop you. Because my countrymen will." Say what you will about Zulf, but he's a man of his word. His countrymen don't much care for pleasantries, though. Too bad for that. Zulf showed them the way here, and here they came to take revenge. They got inside the Bastion and shut the door. Kid's gotta go in through the back. I should have told him sooner. about all this. To make matters worse, seems the Ura took the girl. Unfortunately, they broke in, and they started digging their holes. Something wrong sprung out of those holes, and it's eating away at this place. We tried to stop them, but we needed help. No way out of this, not without a fight. Somehow, some way, he sends those Ura packing. Problem is, it didn't matter. Zolf's plan worked. We find each other as the dust settles. Then I tell him why the Ura came. To get us back, for the calamity. It was Caelondia's master plan to wipe the Ura out. But part of that plan backfired, didn't it? If only Zolf knew the whole story, what were we to think? They must have got her, taken her back to her rightful home. The shards can put this disease in remission, but there's only one cure. We need to finish what we started. Bold brandy is thicker than paint. Makes your skin feel as tough as knife bark. The marshals learned to pack those shells full of fire. To master the musket, you gotta get rid of the recoil. The Bastion ain't gonna build itself. Well, not entirely. The Mercy. The windbags ain't the only beast that drew a bad lot. The conscience. We haven't lost everything, long as we have that. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. You put some finishing touches on the business end of that thing. Now all we need is one last shard. One last shard. It's all we need to put this mess behind us. And mother, what a mess it is. A mess like that could have only been made by hand. Zolf said the calamity failed, and he's right. The Uras stand as living proof of that. At the heart of the calamity was a simple idea. We never wanted to go to war again. Wanted to rule it out. We put a lot of folks against that problem. Scientists, soldiers, spies, even me. We sought solutions far beyond the city. We traveled near as far as the kid's going right now. Most of our efforts didn't bear fruit. Then there was a breakthrough, but it didn't come from one of our people. young scientist named Ven. Ven worked for the Mancers, the sharpest knives in the city's drawer. With his help, the Mancers devised a way to seal the Ura tunnel shut in a flash. Just like that, every last Ura living in the Tassel terminals will be gone. This discovery was never to be used, they said, except as a last resort. But Ven didn't like being manipulated. He had plans of his own. He sabotaged the Mancers' little science project, set it to blow up in their faces. Imagine how Ven must have felt when they finally made him pull that trigger. But remember, the Bastion can fix everything. We just need that shard. Too bad the Ura ain't exactly been willing to collaborate on that front. For now, Kid had little choice but to pick up where the Calamity left off. First things first, though, there's someone we figured needed rescuing. See ya. The Ura fell back, no doubt planning the next move, but we knew ours already. There's something we had to do before going after that last shard. Well, now it's personal, ain't it? It's personal for him, and it's personal for me. They never saw him coming. He gets his hands on the care package I sent him. It's a little something I've been fixing up in my spare time. The Ura found a way to keep the calamity from spreading through Zoltan's Hollow. They got their own security and everything. Pretty fancy even. Still, they ain't used to having visitors around. They've got these conductors that are all what's keeping the place together. Break enough of those things and the calamity rocks slink back into the ground. Those rocks are like tumors, the same kind the Ura planted in the Bastion. Well, the Ura must be in a panic right about now. They even sick their little rattletail pets on the kid. Those rodents are just a bump in the road. By now, every Ura from here to the terminals must know he's in town. Kid returns their greeting tenfold. Most of the Ura's conductors are squared away in the middle of the hollow. They're easy targets. Those calamity rocks must be eating that place apart from the inside. It's not the time to get reckless. The Ura keep hanging on to their barricade. After all, their homeland's not much farther. Maybe they know they've lost this. Lost to a kid. They underestimated us. Had us pegged all wrong. Yes, our people caused the calamity, but here we are trying to fix it. Did the Ura really think we just turn around and walk away? Shame the opportunity for civilized discourse is over. Suppose old Zolf should have got to know us better. Maybe I should have trusted him, told him everything I knew. As the hour grows desperate, the Ura bring out their big guns. There's nothing standing in his way no more. He sees the Tazzle terminals loom large on the horizon. Way out there on the edge of the world, that's where he finally finds you. But it ain't like Prosper Bluff this time. Ain't nothing for this gal to sing about now. Zia, you weren't kidnapped. No, ma'am. You just had to see what happened to the Ura. To your own people. You had to see if everything Zolf wrote to you was true. Sure you didn't drop that twangy thing on purpose, just to see if he'd go after you? They lost everything, didn't they? But they just keep on fighting like that's gonna bring it all back. The country, she's all the pieces now, but still looking good. The sanctuary, if we can build, we can rebuild. I don't need to see what happened to the Ura. I'm trying to undo it, remember? The power of the calamity ain't well understood, but a hammer sure is. Once the kid gets that last shard from Zolf, it'll all be over. I can't hear him at all anymore. He's too far away. But he'll be all right. Got his lifelong friend to keep him company. Just needs to get that shard from Zolf and come on home. The calamity hit the Tazzle terminals hardest of all. You know why Zolf went back there. The place was his home. All his old friends and family were there. Taken by the calamity. Zolf must be there all alone, just waiting. You know what's funny? Well, all of us are waiting for a kid. Look around. There's not much left to do here in the Bastion, I'm afraid. So why not tell each other stories to pass the time, right? But Zia, there's another reason I've been telling you all this. When the kid brings back that shard, the Bastion will be complete. What happens to Zolf will no longer matter. Zealandia will be whole again. Everything will be back to normal. Everyone will be all right. Problem is, we'll all be gone. Oh, we're not gonna die. It's more like all of this will just stop. things will go back to the way they used to be. This whole place is a living record of the times before the calamity. The way things were before this story. Good times, right? You be your old self again. Think of all those times that didn't go your way. You follow me? All of life's little setbacks. Imagine if you could have another go at them. No mistakes. Anyone you've ever heard. Everything you've ever done, you could do it over. And wouldn't that be grand? Wouldn't you agree? Well, I guess there's nothing more to say. Who am I kidding? Look. There's something else. A confession. How come I know so much about the Bastion? Well, I designed the place, but that's beside the point. There's one problem with a place that sets things back to a bygone time. You can't test it. So you're probably wondering if the calamity happened already. What's to stop it from happening again after the Bastion does its thing? The answer is... I don't know. You're wondering if there ain't some other way out of this mess. It's all right. I can tell. But why would you even want another way? Unless you wanted to stay here with us. Well, that's sweet and all, but I don't know if I can stick around. weight of the calamity. It's on our shoulders. We can't just let it go. Bastion does have another function, strictly speaking. If ever the monument blew out and we couldn't repair it, we could still evacuate. First, we'd round up as many folks as we could carry. Next, we'd detonate the cores and we'd take off away from here. You know Zolf and his countrymen won't be giving up that shard without a fight, don't you? Zolf and the Ura. All they want now is to see the Bastion fall. Zolf dedicated his life to a lasting peace between the Ura and Zealandia. Can't have imagined the city would try to wipe the Ura out. Zolf ain't lost every shred of decency though, has he? He tried to warn you about his plans. He tried to warn the kid. For Zolf, this ain't a personal matter. simple matter of pride either. One thing's for sure, the Ura can't be happy that the kid followed Zolf all the way home. Kid saves Zolf once, but I don't think he'd make the same mistake. I wouldn't. Don't you worry, though. Once the Bastion's restored, it'll all be alright. You ain't still thinking about that whole leaving the city thing, are you? Kid's probably dealt with Zolf by now. He reminds me of myself when I was his age. I ever tell you about those days? Hey, kid. Get up, kid. Come on, that ain't funny. I said get up. That's more like it. Now, set that shard into the monument there. Then we'll talk. The Bastion. It's finally finished. Now, there's something I want you to see. Welcome to the heart of the Bastion. I ain't one for long goodbyes, so here's the deal. Zia and I figure you done the heavy lifting, so you get to do the honors. We can tell you how to work this thing if you got any questions.
You made it. So, let's see. You can either prevent the calamity, or stick around with me and Rex. I'd hate to be in your shoes. If I could be any place I wanted, I'd stay right here. We could go anywhere in the world. Zolf tried to talk me into joining him. I tried to talk him out of it. I guess we both failed. When I finally found my people, I told them we could help. They just took me for a traitor. Glad you showed up. Any moment I'd want to live again happened after the calamity, not before.
Hey, kid. You can undo the calamity here and now. Go on, kid. And before I forget, thank you. Always wondered what the motherland was like. Not that it matters anymore. Zolf only brought more ruin to the Ura. No wonder they didn't take kindly to him. You've got one thing left to do, so you hang on to that badge. Besides, you earned it. Don't let anything you've done get to you. You can save all those creatures here and now. It's finished. Now, sit tight. It'll be over soon. No matter what happens next, you're done good. I suppose all that's left is to try and remember this moment. The Bastion's gonna take us back to a better time, before any of this. Might be we'll forget everything you've done, and each other. Though after all we've been through, I find that hard to believe. So long, kid. Maybe I'll see you in the next one. Zealandia, we're coming home.